friend of mine just asked me to help him with his YouTube channel. He's an author and he writes in the area of productivity. However, he's looking to really share his ideas online, also with the long-term goal of garnering enough people he's able to impact with his work, but also being able to have something to sell later on and have an additional stream of income. Possibly also do things like do some speaking engagements, write further books, that sort of thing. But he knows that he needs to be able to have a content strategy to continue to reach out to people and build that know, like, trust factor. And he came to me because he knows I'm very involved with video and he wanted to know what I would propose in terms of him going ahead to create this. And they're a mix of a few things that he needs. He needs the content strategy. He also needs the tools and then the process for getting that done, and then a way to track things. Right, so let's go through each of those one by one. First of all, what's the strategy here? I would say he can employ multiple social media platforms, but with the goal of growing an audience. Let me explain. From what I've learned online and from the work I do, even in my process, what I would suggest to him is to have a long form content strategy that then brings out all the other outputs. Let me explain. So he'll start off with coming up with the content for his content strategy, right? So he has a book. The book chapters are going to be part of the content. So let's imagine he has a few book chapters. Let's imagine it's 12, just for ease. So that's one chapter a month. And so what we're going to do with that is that within that month, there are 4 topics. So within each chapter, he needs to come up with 4 talking areas, 4 big ideas that can then be broken down into smaller parts. So he comes up with the idea, the title, and then the content for it, just in written form, or he can record it as a voice note. In some of my other videos, I've explained how you can use spoken word and then turn that into your blog post or your YouTube videos. I just need to get things out of his head and either into audio and then transcribe that into text, or just straight on to text. That's the first thing. The question is then how to then present that information. He could go a number of ways. He could go the podcasting route. He could go the YouTube channel route. What I suggested to him is when he gets this out of himself, whether in rough format, whatever it is, but I need it in text, we can then tidy it up and then put it as a blog post. For the blog post, to host that is Substack. And there's a reason why I suggest Substack. It's because you can also build a list of email addresses, which can be very valuable later. The first goal right now is just to grow an audience, and that's okay. But in the long run, it's going to be very helpful, particularly when it comes to selling, to have those email addresses. Next up, we want to take that written content and turn it into a long form video. So adapt it such that it becomes a video script, or it can become a sort of like a conversation podcast script. You've probably heard of, I believe it's Google Notebook LM. Basically, it's a tool for taking content and then making a podcast out of it. So we're going to explore that as well as explore just having conversations, basically. And with that, if we just took the text as it was and then turned that into a podcast episode, in a sense, with 2 people discussing it using AI, we can then use that as the audio foundation of his YouTube content. We're still going to need visuals to put on top. So what I suggest to him would be to have stock footage, so maybe of landscapes and scenery sort of thing, and a moving camera view as well, so it's not static. So it's still interesting, but yet something that changes often. Besides that, we also possibly have the text, so the transcribed conversation showing on the screen. So, maybe line by line sort of thing. So it keeps it somewhat engaging and keeps something going on there, but you know that you can consume that content without really paying attention to the visuals. If you want to, you can, but you can pretty much consume it just using audio, and that would be great. Okay, so once we have that and we have our long form content anywhere between 8 and 16 minutes, we can then use tools to then turn those into YouTube shorts. Maybe we can make maybe 3 shorts a week. So in total, we'd have 4 videos, 1 long form and then 3 shorts, schedule them out and post them up. That's the general idea we'll be going for. And then we just rinse and repeat for the other weeks of the month and then go to the next chapter for the next month. Next up, we then need to talk about, okay, how do we actually make this happen? First of all, he needs to get whatever it is out of his head And on paper, we'll start off with a list of 12 topics, or maybe the 12 chapters of his book, and then 4 topics under each chapter. And those 4 topics would be the big ideas for the videos. Next up, we're thinking of tools. Okay, how do we achieve this? The writing part, or the getting it out of his head, he can either do that through a voice note. He can do it based off taking information from his book chapter and then putting that into text form sort of thing. Then if we want, we can use AI to help fine tune it and see, okay, what are the ideas we can tease from this? Then we write the article, or we could even make it, instead of a blog post, it could just be a transcript if we go down the podcast conversation route. Tools to help with that, like I said, the Google LM podcast. We've also got tools like Descript. So there are a few tools I'll mention, and I'll tell you what we're choosing. So in terms of tools, you could use Artlist, which would cost anywhere between $18 and $60 Canadian a month. And with that, you'd get stock footage, you get AI generated stuff, from sound effects to music to footage, also to voices. Not a huge fan of using AI voices, but that is also there. And then we get all of those assets, but then we're still going to need to edit the video, which we can then do with tools like CapCut, iMovie, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro. The list is endless. And then once we have that, we export. Then we can use other tools for generating the shorts. But let's come back to the shorts. Okay, so in the long form video side, that's one. And then besides that, there's also Descript, which is a tool I use very, very much for creating my videos, just because it makes the editing faster. Descript could possibly replace a lot of the different tools. So rather than have Artlist plus CapCut, you could probably get away with having just Descript, because Descript has AI picture generation. I don't know if it does video. I'd have to check that up. But AI picture generation, there's stock footage for both pictures and videos. They've got their AI editing tool called Underlord, which you could literally just tell it what editing you need done and it would do it. For example, there's already a button you could press to edit for clarity, and it would take your video, make a transcript of it, look through it, then edit it for clarity. So if there were any ums and ahs, let's say it wasn't something generated, but it was something you had said and you want to remove all the filler words, it could do that for you. You could also tell it to add titles or add B-roll here and there just by prompting it, and it would do it. So I think to start off, that's what I would recommend for him, not the other one yet. Artlist may come in handy later on, particularly if he wants a wider variety of stock footage. But to start off, I'd say just do Descript. Descript would cost anywhere between 24 and 35 US dollars per month, which for what you get, I think it's well worth it. Also, Descript also does AI voices as well. So if we had the script, you could then just select the different parts that would be the different voices, and then you could essentially have them talking to each other, which could be cool. All right, so that's the long form. Now for the short form, there are a few options. Again, Descript does give you the ability to repurpose the videos from long form to short form, and it would suggest maybe different parts that can do it. So it's quite nice that you can do a lot of this within one tool. Besides that, though, there are other tools that you could use. For example, OpusClip. OpusClip is probably the best known shorts generator from long form videos. So once you upload your video to YouTube, put it on Unlisted to start with, then send it to OpusClip. OpusClip would then do a few cuts and suggest different shorts from that video. We're looking for a minimum of 3. If there's more, great, you can do that. And then we'll then export those to our YouTube. And that would be it for shorts. So we've got long form writing, then long form video, then shorts. From the long form writing, we could also get shorter form writing in the style of Threads or X, and we can post that on Substack. In terms of the YouTube shorts, we could post on YouTube alone, but we could also put it on TikTok to see which platform performs better in terms of getting more people to watch the videos and to grow an audience that way. Having done these 3 steps, I even call it maybe 4, but written long form, then short form posts, then we've got your YouTube long form, and then your shorts YouTube videos, which can go on TikTok as well. Then after that, we've got your analytics. It's important to have a look over like weekly, monthly to see how each of your videos are doing, what ideas seem to garner the most views and why or why not. And we can keep testing and keep trying things out. In the process of creating YouTube videos, obviously you mustn't forget the packaging. So that's your YouTube thumbnail and your titles, because the titles are very important for the algorithm to actually know what your video is about, as well as the description, but also putting titles and thumbnails that are appealing and would make people want to click. That's the idea. Let people click and have a high click-through rate. So that's your number of people clicking versus the number of people who actually saw your content. All right, so that's a general idea of something I'm working with him on, and we're gonna see whether we're gonna do a model where I create it or I just stay on the strategy side. If this sort of thing is interesting to you and you'd like to get on board with this sort of service, get in touch. I'll put links in the description and in the pinned comment of this video for how you can get in touch with me for us to discuss your project, and then we can see how we could work together on it. The idea here is for him to build personal brand on YouTube and other platforms to establish him as a thought leader in this space. And then from there, eventually when he has products that are relevant to his audience, he can put it out to them. The more he interacts with his audience due to being able to put content out there and put it out consistently, the more he'll know more about his audience and how best he can serve him. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to working with him on this project. I think it's something that can have a huge impact and it can change a lot of people's lives. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you. Anyway, I've got to run. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. I wanted to go through a few questions people had about being authors and then looking to establish themselves as thought leaders, looking to establish themselves as a key voice in their industry or in whatever it is that their book is related to. So let's go through. So the first question is, should I start with long form content instead of short videos? If you're an author, I would say definitely go for long form first. And here's why. As an author with long form, you already have a lot of the long form content, which is your book. The idea is to then take bits and pieces from that book and then use that to create your content. And then once you have that, you can then extract the key nuggets that come from short pieces of that long form video that you can then put as shorts. So you can, let's say you have a 10-minute video, for example. Within there, there'll be little bits and sound bites that you can take to make your short video. So I would just do that. So create the long form, put the effort into the long form, and then tease out the short form videos. But also make sure that there's a link from the short form videos back to the long form. The short form is really good for people to discover you, but the long form is where people really get to know you. And then you can build that know, like, and trust factor. How can I turn my book into a year's worth of content? I'm glad you asked. It's really pretty easy, actually. What I would say is, let's imagine your book has 12 chapters, just for ease and convenience. It has 12 chapters. What you could do is from each chapter, tease out maybe 4 key points of those, and then you can use those 4 key points as the main ideas for videos for the week, for each week, I mean, within the month. So in the first month, let's say you take chapter one. Within chapter one, you have one key idea. You talk about it for anything between 8 and 16 minutes. Put that out as your long form. And then afterwards, you can then take snippets from that long form video and then create shorts for it. But that's the way I would do it basically. And then if you keep rinsing and repeating, so do 4 videos, 4 long form videos a month, and then duplicate that to, yes, if you do 4 long form videos a month, and then from that you tease out your short videos, in the space of a year, you have 48 videos. But if you also add maybe 3 short form videos from each long form, you're looking at 4 videos a week. And then so that's 16 a month, which if you then multiply that by 12, let's quickly do the math, shall we? So let's say you have 16 videos and you multiply that by 12, you have 192 videos. What's the best way to get ideas out of my head and into content? What I'd say basically is don't overthink it. What you need to do is just speak. We are all used to speaking. Speaking is something we do every day, in speaking to our peers and speaking to our friends. So all we have to do is just speak. I would say just get your phone, record yourself answering a question to do with your topic or the thing that you're trying to get out of your head, right? Or maybe even do it with a friend. Get a friend you can interview and let them ask you questions. You're able to just talk, and that's probably the most natural thing. So just get it out of your head and talk. Once you've spoken, that's not where the work ends. You can then transcribe that audio, and there are many tools available, free and paid, that you can use to transcribe your audio. Once you have it transcribed, that's where the magic happens, because then you could turn it into a blog post. You could take snippets from it and turn it into X posts. You could also turn it into a YouTube video script and then create a video with that after you've reorganized the thoughts. But the idea, anyway, is to just get things out of your head and out in some form. I find speaking is easier than typing, and I just feel like it's faster. But if you prefer typing or writing because it gives you time to process thoughts, do that as well. The idea basically is just get it out of your head in as rough a way as you need to. Just get it out so that once it's out in the open, it can then be worked on. Why do you recommend Substack for blogging? Well, I would say Substack is more than just for blogging. It's a publication platform that can handle video, audio, also in terms of podcasts, for example. You can also, it's like a mix of different social media combined. So it's like adding YouTube for videos. It's like Spotify or Apple Music or Apple Podcasts for the audio side of things. It's like Medium for blogging. It's like Threads for adding short notes out there. You've also got, it's just got a mix of everything. So it's a nice place to house everything. Plus, it's a way to also interact directly with your subscribers or followers, whatever you want to call them, and also get their contact details by email address. And in so doing, you're able to actually reach out to them on a more personal note. So that's why I would say I would definitely recommend Substack if you're looking at a place that can house basically all the different kinds of your content. I'm not saying don't use the other social media platforms. Please, by all means, do. They do have a wider reach than Substack, but I think Substack is great for putting out your written content, particularly your long form written content. What's Descript and why is it great for content creators? Descript is a tool that I pay a monthly subscription for, and I'm happy to pay that money. It can be a bit on the higher side for people who are not used to spending money on subscription services, but I think it's well worth it. Descript is a tool for video editing, but it also leverages AI. So rather than editing the usual way, like looking at a timeline visually and editing it, what you would do instead is transcribe the video. So it's particularly good for videos where there's a lot of talking and educational videos. With that, you can then, just by listening and just by transcribing rather than seeing the text of the video in the tool, it then means that you can edit using just text. And editing can be as simple as deleting text, and it would just delete that portion of the video. But it can also do other things. You can use AI to prompt it and say, come up with the different chapters in the video and then put visuals to it, or put maybe a text overlay. By just giving it instructions, it can get it done. So it can be quite a simple way of getting your thoughts and ideas out there and editing it really quickly in a way that's pretty intuitive. Besides that, it also has AI tools such as maybe AI image generation. It's also got stock footage. It's also got AI voice generation, which I'm not a huge fan of. That is available there as well. There are many things. So just as a one-stop shop tool that you could use for creating your videos, I think it's really great. It also has the ability to use short form. With that, you can then take your long form video and then repurpose it as short form. And you can tell it's AI, which is called Underlord, to actually do that for you. So it's a really, really cool tool, and I recommend you try it out. Can AI really help me make a podcast or video without recording myself? Yeah, there's a tool called Google Notebook LM, and it can take any content you give it in written form, for example, and turn it into a podcast with two people talking about the topic or the writing that you put up. So AI can do that. You've got tools like Descript, which can also generate voices, so turn your ideas into an audio podcast. But with, again, a tool like Descript, you can also take, this is not an advert for Descript, by the way. I just think it's an amazing tool to use. So that's why I mention them a lot. But then it also has stock footage. So you can literally even tell it to take the audio that you've already given it and add stock footage on it to make it more interesting. And so AI can help you a lot with putting it out there. However, I will say though that the more you are able to appear on camera and just be there, the more people relate with you, relate with you and associate you with the ideas. But if to start off you're not really feeling like putting yourself out there, yes, there are ways AI can help you. AI is basically reducing the barrier to content creation. So you might as well hop on the AI train. How can I turn long YouTube videos into shorts automatically? So the way you would do it is, I would say, create a long form video first. That would be the first step, actually have a long form video. Then the next part in it would be to use different tools that are available to just help you find the key segments or key sound bites in your recording and then export it as a shorts video. Another thing about shorts is that it's quite helpful to have the captions baked in. That way, if people are scrolling and let's say the volume isn't on, they can still get a sense of what the video is because of the text that's showing on the screen. So tools that can help you with this include Opus Clip. vidIQ actually has the feature within their tool to generate shorts, so that's pretty helpful too. Then, like I mentioned, Descript also does it. You just use the Underlord tool to convert your long form to short form. If you've already edited your video within Descript, it probably is a good idea to use Descript for the short form as well, just because not only can it get the key ideas, but it can also move the elements around such that it fits better in the shorts platform rather than other tools which may have to crop you out. So that's something to try out. There are many tools like that. And what those tools will do would basically go through your video and then just pick out key points and turn those into vertical YouTube shorts. Oh yeah, just another thing to mention, Descript can actually post directly to YouTube for you, so you don't have to download it and then export again. You can just do it in one tool. All right. Next question. Should I post my shorts on both YouTube and TikTok? It's not a straightforward yes or no, and let me explain why. In general, if your videos are short videos like YouTube Shorts and in vertical format, then yes, it's a good format for TikTok. The question is a thing of length. So are you putting short length videos like less than 30 seconds, or is your short video up to 3 minutes? And then would that work well for your TikTok audience? That's the question there. But the other question is about spreading yourself thin. So let's say, for example, things go wildly better than you expect, and you have people viewing your content both on YouTube and TikTok. Do you have the time to engage with users on TikTok that are commenting as well as users on YouTube? If you do, or you have a team to help you, that's great. But the idea is, the received wisdom about content creation is focus on one platform first before you expand, and make sure you do one platform very well. You could have a look and see what works for you. If you find that you're not able to give enough attention to one platform, it may be better to focus on one first and then expand afterwards. In general, if they are the same size, you can. But the other thing to mention though is, don't post a video that has a TikTok logo or a YouTube logo on it on each other's platforms. I don't think it does very well when you do that. So export the video and upload them natively to either platform. How do I make my videos engaging if I don't want to be on camera? Stock footage, B-roll, basically. And that can be anything from scenery. It can also be illustrated videos. Remember those whiteboard videos? Those are some you could do as well. You could also have videos that have the text of what's being said on there, but then with nice imagery or things in the background. If you're looking to have the video be very engaging, you want to change the background very frequently. So what has been said than the visuals, then you want to keep the visuals simple but moving. So not static necessarily, but moving. If you have to have static, then let the video or the static image change very frequently. But yeah, there are many footage that you can get online that you can use for your content. Obviously, you want to make sure that you have the license to do that. So where you can get your footage from places like Artlist is the one that's been advertising a lot, so you can get from there. I think their lowest plan starts from about, I don't know whether it's $15 or $16 upwards. Besides that, there are other tools like Descript again that I mentioned, which already have the footage in there, and you are licensed to use the footage that's available there. Besides that, I think CapCut also has footage, stock footage that you can use, and this is both pictures and video. Then there are other free ones as well that require attribution, such as Pixabay and Pexels. So there are many available. Just make sure that whatever images you use, ensure that they have the license to do so. Also, if you're working with a lot of static images, what you can do to make them a little bit more dynamic would be to include zoom ins and zoom outs. So got a static image, but keep zooming in and zooming out. Like for each video, I would just do one motion. So picture, zoom in, another picture, zoom out, that sort of thing, just to make it a little bit more dynamic. Okay. Next question. How do I know if my YouTube strategy is working? Check the numbers, basically. So are you getting, if you're not getting views, then something isn't working so well. Then another thing is, okay, how many views are you getting? Are you getting more views than you were from previous videos, or are you getting fewer? Are there things that you can tweak and test to see what works? The thing is, if you put content out there, yes, people may discover it, or fewer people may find it as you might want. But the important thing is to just keep checking, and as you check, keep tweaking. So tweak things like the duration of the video, tweak the format of the video, tweak the kind of imagery you use. There are many things that you can tweak and keep testing. Also, change out the packaging. So that's your thumbnail, your title, and your description. Change things, vary things from video to video, and keep testing even on old videos to see what works and what doesn't. But when you change things, make sure you change just one thing at a time so you can see what is working. If you change too many things at the same time, you may not necessarily see what's working. So I recommend that you change only the parts. Check your analytics. Analytics are available on YouTube. If you go to the YouTube studio, click on there, then you'll see a button for analytics. Click on that, and then you can see the analytics, different things from demographics to time spent on video, that sort of thing. So keep checking those, and then try to tweak things to get improvements on them. All right. What does working with a YouTube strategist actually look like? The YouTube strategist is there to be a partner with you in creating content, right? So you provide the content, they provide the systems and strategies to make it sustainable, to make it reach the people that you're looking for it to reach, and to apply the best practices in content creation. That way, your content can reach as many people as possible, or as many people in your intended audience as possible. But basically, think of a content strategist as somebody who comes with you as a partner on your channel to make sure that you are able to reach more people and achieve the goals that you have for your YouTube channel. And people have different goals, from getting as many subscribers or followers as possible to maybe getting a particular kind of follower. So maybe you want people who are interested in your business, for example, and people with a higher intent to buy. A strategist can help you with ideas on videos and formats that would work for that demographic that you're looking for. It could be a case where you're looking to increase the average view duration or get your watch hours to a certain level. Again, a content strategist or YouTube strategist should be able to help you with that. All right, those are the answers to the questions we had about authors becoming content creators. Now, if you are here, because this is a live video, let me know if you have any questions or thoughts before I close down this live stream. But I hope it was helpful to you. And if you're watching this on the replay and you have further questions, I will create another video just answering those questions. I think overall, this has been a good session. I hope I've answered a lot of your questions. If you are interested in working with me as your YouTube strategist, let me know in the comments and I'll let you know how to reach me. I'll work with you on your YouTube channel to help you grow that YouTube channel and just give you hints and tips, maybe some quick wins as well to help you get further. But in particular, I'm looking for authors who are looking to put themselves out there with the mission of getting more people to hear their message and take action as a result. And particularly if you already have a book, you already have, what I say, a treasure trove of content. The idea is to now take the ideas from your book, create content about it and let people get to know you better, trust you, like you. And then if you do have a product to sell, it would then mean that you've got a warm audience of people who are actually interested in what you have to say and what you have to sell because of the content that you're putting forward, which is undergirded or held together by the book you've created. So if that sounds interesting to you, let me know in the comments and we can take the conversation forward from there. But yeah, otherwise, I think I will be ending the stream right now. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.